Hello again and welcome back. In this lesson, I'm going to show you two new geoprocessing tools that are kind of similar to ones you've seen before, but we'll do slightly different variations on those tasks that we've seen before. In particular, I'm going to show you the erase tool and the identity tool. The erase tool will be a little new, where the identity tool is kind of like a hybrid of the intersect, spatial join, clip tools that you've been using. And I want to emphasize that the point of me showing you all these tools isn't for you to memorize each and every one of them. It's so that when you encounter certain situations, you remember that you have a variety of different tools to accomplish the job, and that if you think, oh, I need it to transfer attributes and clip the boundary for me, that you know that there's a tool for that you can then go find, even if you don't remember exactly which one of them it is. So just kind of pay attention to the capabilities that we have here and know that lots of us still get these names mixed up, but that we can find them when we need to by searching and by looking through the toolbox. So first off, I'm going to use the same demo data that I used last time, which is the blue in the background is the parcel data for this area, and the orangish peach color here is a town boundary. So we have a town here, and then in the surrounding area we have much larger parcels. So if I take a look at that, let's maybe make this a little transparent so that we can see both. And what I want to do is use the erase tool. So maybe I have an analysis where I want to analyze all the parcels that aren't a part of a town. I can use the erase tool for that and get back a copy of the parcels that excludes everywhere that's within this town boundary layer. So let's go take a look at that. I'll bring up Arc Toolbox, and under Analysis Tools, in the Overlay toolbox, there's an Erase tool. And if I double click it to open it up, I get a familiar dialog here, and I can select my input features, which is the features that I want to get back, which is my parcels, and then the erase features, which are the features that we will actually use as sort of an eraser on the other layer. And if I forgot which was which, I could use the tool help, but I could also look at the whole tool and get kind of this graphic back where it shows it having the input features minus the erase features give you this output with a hole in it. So that's what we're kind of doing right here. And I'll do a name of county parcels without towns and click OK to run it. Again, it runs down here for me. And in the end, I can't immediately see the result because I still have my other layers on, but if I turn it off, I can see the blue parcels through this new layer of parcels. And if I turn that off, I can see that there's just nothing behind it anymore. I erased the geometry that was in that area. Notice that kind of like the intersect tool, it cracks the features though. So where there were complete features in here, I now have incomplete portions of features where the corners are. And so I'll have these remnants of features and their attributes there, and I should be aware of that when I use the erase tool. Okay, now moving on from there, let's take a look at a different tool. In this case, the identity tool. The identity tool can be used almost as a sort of stamp on another layer, and I'll show you what I mean. It does what intersect does in that it cracks the features and puts new boundary lines into the feature that we get as our output, and it transfers the attributes, but it doesn't only give us the coincident area. It keeps the extent of the original feature we put in and then cracks it based upon our identity features. So let's take a look at that. Let's say I want to take this town boundary I have and stamp in the small parcels, but not these big parcels. So let's do a quick selection by attributes. And we'll select all of the parcels that are relatively small. So we'll just, for this demo, we'll take a quick guess at the size of the parcels. So I'll use the parcels layer as my selection layer, and down here I'm going to use the shape area field. So I'm going to find all the small parcels using the shape area field by saying shape area less than, and just to get a sense for the size range, let's click Get Unique Values. It's populating the box by searching through the data table for all the different values right now. Okay, so we have some really small features here. I'm assuming this is in square meters right now. And let's take a look in this range here, about 2,000 square meters. Yeah, so I'm just going to type that in. Let's see what happens if I do shape area less than 2,000. If I click apply, that looks like it gives me all the small parcels in here. I can take a look by zooming in. Yeah, that's giving me approximately the ones I want to use for this. So let's take all those parcels less than 2,000 square meters and stamp them into the town boundary. I want to keep the town boundary as my primary geometry, but break it up where these small parcels exist and transfer those attributes to it. So let's close the select by attributes now. And just to make it extra clear, I'm going to make a new layer from my selection here. So I'll go selection, create layer from selected features, and then I'll turn off the layer I just selected. And that way, even though with a selection on a layer, geoprocessing tools only use the selected features, we'll just make it extra clear by making it a whole new layer for this use. So now I do have some features beyond my town boundaries still, but the identity tool won't use those. So let's open it up. And again, it's also in the overlay tool set of the analysis toolbox. And I'll double click identity to bring up the tool. And once again, I get that graphical representation over here. And like I said, the input features stay, and I get the output features, or the identity features stamped into the output, but I don't get the full identity feature geometry. So let's take a look. We'll do our input features, which is the town boundary of English, Indiana, and identity features are from that selection layer I just made. So we'll do that, and I'll do a name of small parcels in English, and I can select which attributes to join, and I'll do all attributes, and then I'm going to click OK. And once again, it runs in the bottom right hand corner. And when it's done, I get, let's just turn these others off just to make it clear, I get only the extent of the polygon I passed in as my input features, but look, it added boundaries within there. It added new polygons, and it broke up the main big polygon where those small parcels intersected it. And if I go look at the attribute table of my my original boundary here, it didn't have a lot of attributes. But if I look at the small parcels layer, it added attributes from the parcels layer, since those are now part of these polygons. So the identity tool both broke up the big polygon and added the boundaries of the polygons we used as identity features, but it also transferred the attributes just like an intersect or a spatial join. So again, these tools are all kind of similar. They tend to break your features in different ways and attach or not attach attributes. And they're all kind of variations on a theme. But you'll find yourself wanting each of these depending upon different geoprocessing workflows. So it's good to know that these all exist. I sometimes forget about some of these tools and then later remember that I have something that does something kind of like spatial join, but a little different that would be really handy. So just remember that all these exist so that when you need them, you can go find them. Okay, that's it for this lecture. In this lecture, I showed you the erase tool, which can be used to remove and break features from one feature class based upon features in another feature class. And I also showed you the identity tool, which can create new boundaries within a feature class, sort of like a stamp, and transfer the attributes just like the intersect and spatial join tool. I hope you find these tools useful, and I'll see you next time when we talk about buffers.